It was almost Christmas on the island of Sodor. All the engines were busily carrying passengers and goods up and down every line on the Fat Controller's railway. All the engines were excited for Christmas Day, except for one. Stephen, the Q1, an engine who had run away from scrap, was the only engine on the whole island who was not excited for the festive season at all.
Merry Christmas, everyone! Merry Christmas, Stephen.
Put a lump of coal in it, you galloping sausage.
Oh, the indignity.
He hissed steam at me when I said Merry Christmas to him.
He called me a galloping sausage.
Quite. There may be more to this situation than any of us might know of.
Just then Emily steamed into the yard. She was tired and looked very cross.
Stephen just called me a dull emerald annoyance, in front of passengers too.
No!
Yes, and he didn't even say sorry.
Oh dear, it seems we have an Ebenezer Scrooge treading our rails.
As amusing as it may seem to any of us that we have an Ebenezer Scrooge on our rails, it's very taxing, to say the least, that Stephen has been behaving this way since the Christmas season began.
You're just noticing this now, Edward?
Yes, just now, Thomas. Need I remind you that Boko and I have been working my branch line since Bill and Ben got into that accident with Timothy 2 weeks ago? They're still being repaired as we speak. Sadly, they'll be spending Christmas at the Steamworks with Victor and Kevin.
That reminds me, Edward. Oliver and Toad are going to help out on your branch line since Donald and Douglas are helping me out on mine.
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Duck. I was wondering where the twins had gotten to. Now that you mention it, Stephen has been assigned to work on my branch line through the beginning of the new year. Granted, I may not want an Ebenezer Scrooge on my branch line, I won't let his sour behavior ruin my Christmas or anyone else's. I'm sorry, everyone. That's my guard. I'll catch up with you all when I get the chance. Merry Christmas, everyone!
As Edward steamed to Wellsworth Station with his goods train, he could not help but think about what the other engines had said about Stephen. As Edward arrived at Wellsworth Station, he was surprised to find Stephen waiting for him.
Ah, Stephen. Wonderful to see you've made it here safely. Save you, Steve. Tell me what you need done.
Edward was not impressed with the Q1's bad attitude at all, but still knew to be nice towards him.
Well, Boko and I both share passenger and goods services throughout the week, and I don't pull passengers. I see. Perhaps I can entertain you with goods work for the next few hours then? My goods train from Brendam Docks is almost ready to be collected and brought back to Wellsworth Yard. Before you start steaming off to Brendam Light Engine, could I ask you to take some trucks from Wellsworth Yard with you? They were supposed to be delivered to the shunting yards this morning. However, Paxton ran late with the goods train from Vickerstown, delaying them to Brendam Docks. Yeah, I'll get on that.
As Stephen steamed away to collect the trucks from Wellsworth Yard, Edward could not help but feel that something was not right about the Q1 tender engine. Later that day, Oliver arrived at Wellsworth Station. He was happy to see Edward.
Merry Christmas, Edward!
Hello, Oliver. Merry Christmas to you, and to Toad as well.
Thank you, Mr. Edward, sir. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Thank you, Toad. Oliver, I have a favor to ask. I've got to go to Brendan to collect some trucks due for the China Clay Works. Would you take my local stopping train in my place, please?
Of course. Anything to help a friend. Is it alright that I take Toad too? I don't want him to be alone in the cold.
More appropriately, I think you'll need Toad to help you with your train. Some vans are being added, when necessary, to accommodate for parcels and baggage from the passengers.
Thank you, Edward. I'll get the passengers to each station safely, especially with Toad's help.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Oliver, sir.
Thank you both. It gives me peace of mind that my passengers are in good wheels, if you will. Thank you again, Oliver and Toad. I'll see you this evening.
Bye, Edward. See you later.
We'll take care of your passengers, we will. Don't worry.
Come on, Stephen. Don't be Mr. Grumpy Wheels. It's nearly Christmas.
It's another excuse to be lazy, if you ask me.
Oh, don't be like that. It's a time to spend with friends and family. A time to be happy and giving.
Yeah, a time to be working instead of resting.
Oh, Stephen, that's not nice at all.
Just then, Edward arrived at Brendan Docks. He had to collect trucks of building supplies for repairing a bridge in their China clay pits.
Ah, Stephen. Just the engine I wanted to speak with.
Yeah, sure. You go with that.
Before Edward could talk to Stephen, the Q1 tender engine was already steaming away from him and Rosie, with Edward's goods train.
Wait! There's something I wanted to talk to you about.
There be an Ebenezer Scrooge himself, me hearties.
More like a real Grumpy Wheels.
Stephen was busily shunting about the yard when Boko arrived. The big diesel engine was getting ready to haul a mainline passenger service and had to collect some coaches from the yard. He had heard all about Stephen's grumpy attitude and was not going to let him ruin the festive season for anyone.
Hello, Stephen. Merry Christmas.
Put a cap on it, you rolling tin cad.
Perhaps you should spend Christmas on the out-of-service line, waiting to be taken for scrap, Stephen.
Boko. I never thought I would ever hear something like that being said to another engine. Nonetheless, from you.
Nor was I, Boko.
The Fat Controller arrived at the yards with a man that neither Boko nor Edward had seen before.
I am very disappointed in you for behaving so poorly, especially as we are near Christmas, Boko. Very disappointed indeed.
I am sorry, sir. But Stephen's
bad attitude is no reason to let you lose control of your temper at all, Boko, regardless of how he may treat you or your friends.
And I apologize for that.
Forgive me for being rude, but if I may be so bold, who are you, sir?
Edward, Boko, please meet Manager.
Edward, Boko.
Manager is a new railway controller. He was the man that bought Hank a few weeks ago, Edward, and now he's the owner of Stephen the Q1.
great. Stephen's going to have a real reason to celebrate Christmas now. And by celebrate, I mean severely dislike.
Iron Bert, your commentary is not necessary. You aren't supposed to take those trucks to the China clay pits.
But before Bert could answer the Fat Controller, manager spoke to the diesel engine.
Iron Bert?
Yes, what of it?
Iron Bert?
Come now, Bert. We are trying to lighten up the bad atmosphere here.
It's alright, sir. I guess it's safe for me to say that I have you to thank then.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that you're the diesel engine I have to thank for saving Stephen. You could have let him meet the breaker's torch, but you worked in great secrecy to restore him until Sir Topham Hatt found out about your secret mission.
Yes, I am Iron Bert.
Thank you.
You don't have just me to thank, manager.
I know. Sir Topham Hatt informed me of the entire process. He had Hank take Stephen the Q1 to the Steamworks and help with his restoration and overhaul to full working order.
So, you're the one who's buying it, and his only steam engine friend.
Yes, I'm afraid I needed Hank as a priority, so my first purchase went for the American Giant. I have only just bought Steven, so he'll be leaving the Northwestern Railway's fleet in the beginning of the new year.
Before Iron Bert could reply to manager's statement, the Fat Controller spoke to the diesel engine.
Iron Bert, you'll be staying at the clay pits to oversee the repairs to the line and destroyed bridge. The work will take a long time, and I believe it is safe for me to say that you will be spending Christmas here on Edward's branch line.
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you, Iron Bert. Edward, does Wellsworth Station have a telephone?
Yes, manager. Wellsworth Station has a telephone, as do all stations and shunting yard offices.
Thank you, Edward. That will do.
Manager, may I ask what you are doing?
Please come with me, sir. I think I've got the perfect solution to all of this.
Edward and Boko were very confused as they watched the Fat Controller and manager walk away into the office. Neither knew what the other was going to do, but both were prominently concerned when they saw Steven the Q1 steaming angrily away with a mixed goods train.
Boko, I want you to take over Edward's passenger services for today. You will be needed to help bank heavy trains on Gordon's Hill as it is Christmas Eve, and there will be a big flux of passengers. Oliver, you and George will help Stephen with Edward's goods services.
Yes, sir. Be happy to.
Stephen, before you go, there's someone I want you to meet.
Hello, Stephen. My name's Manager.
Yeah, I know who you are. I saw you the other day talking with Edward and Boko.
I suppose that takes care of introductions then.
What do you want?
I would like to ask you of a favor.
Depends on the favor you're asking me of.
I was recently informed that Neville, Sodor's residential Q1 tender engine, has been failed for the day. I am also aware that you have duties and obligations here on the Wellsworth-Brendam line, so this favor's a bit of a stretch from me asking for your kind-heartedness.
If it's passengers, forget it. I don't pull passengers.
It was actually freight work, but if you don't want to do me the favor of helping out my friend, Sir Topham Hatt, I understand. You've priorities here on Edward's branch line.
What yard is his train in?
Neville's train is at the shunting yards. One half is supplies for the China clay pits, and the other half is due at Vickerstown for the diesel works. You'll be running back here light engine. Is that alright for me to ask you to do that before you return here and continue your work?
Stephen left Wellsworth Yard without another word, on his way to the shunting yard to collect Neville's train. The Fat Controller and Edward were speechless.
What's on? How did you...
I learned that Stephen doesn't listen to orders. Besides, it's always nicer to ask someone to do something instead of telling them to.
As Stephen the Q1 handled Neville's goods train, the engines noticed he was not so cross or grumpy while he worked. Stephen charged to the Vickerstown diesel work in order to deliver the trucks from Neville's train. Dan and Dart were happy to see him, but Dart was suspicious about the Q1 engine's behavior.
Hello, Stephen. Nice to see you. Merry Christmas.
Dizzy Diesel. What he means is, nice to see you again, Stephen, and thank you for the delivery.
Merry Christmas, Stephen.
He also means Merry Christmas, Stephen. I'm in a good mood.
Yeah. Happy Christmas.
Dan was delighted to hear Stephen wish them both a festive holiday.
Merry Christmas, Stephen.
Did I just hear him say what I think he did?
As Stephen steamed back to Edward's station, he returned holiday greetings with a toot of his whistle.
Merry Christmas, Stephen.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's nice to stretch my wheels every so often.
I'm so glad you think so.
Manager and the Fat Controller had walked out to the yards, both wanting to speak with Stephen.
What are you doing here?
Iron Bert.
I suppose I'm spoiling Stephen's Christmas present early.
Brilliant. Go ahead. Not like I got anything for anyone anyway.
In a sense, you get to have a wish of yours fulfilled tomorrow.
Yeah, and what would that be?
You'll be able to run home on Christmas Day. Manager is your new owner and you'll be taking a goods train with supplies.
What you're saying is that
By the beginning of the new year, Stephen will no longer be on the locomotive roster for the Northwestern Railway, Bert.
You're taking him away from Sodor?
I ain't going.
Stephen, there is no questioning the matter. You've been sold, and that's...
If I said I ain't going, I ain't going. Clear.
You wouldn't even go to give Hank company?
Both Stephen and Iron Bert were very surprised.
What do you mean by that?
When I was looking to purchase locomotives for my railroad, I saw that Hank wasn't doing much work here on Sodor, and I knew he would be able to do his former line of work on my railroad. Hank's only condition for my purchase of him was that, if I bought him, I would buy Stephen. My Christmas present to you, Stephen, is a new working life on my railroad alongside Hank.
Stephen did not know what to say. Even though he did want to be able to work like the engines on Sodor did, he did not want to leave his close friend.
Iron Bert comes too. Not getting separated from him.
Iron Bert is not an engine I am willing to share, even when he and his brother get on my nerves.
It's my brother who comes up with those stupid pranks, not me.
I already tried to convince Sir Topham Hatt, but he was fairly stern about keeping a great deal of his fleet together. Apparently, a number of the diesels would have been very cross if Iron Bert were to lead the Northwestern Railway's diesel fleet.
He's the engine. You know.
Saved you. Yes, I'm more than well aware of that. And that he's your closest diesel engine friend with Hank, your closest steam engine friend. Sir Topham Hatt won't let Iron Bert be sold. I'm sorry, Stephen.
Bert, take the stopping goods. Stretch your wheels. I'll do your work at the clay pits.
Before Bert could reply, Stephen had already steamed away to the China clay pits.
Seems like there might be a problem with your proposition then, manager.
Forgive me for being so blunt, but I had hoped to break the news to him gently and not so straightforwardly, as you have.
What do you mean by that?
I wasn't trying to hurt Stephen by telling him that way. I wanted him to feel comfortable about leaving the island of Sodor and Northwestern Railway. Instead, you went all straightforward because you just want him off your hands. Don't you, sir?
Manager, I am not very appreciative of your tone towards me.
And I am not very appreciative of how you helped me deliver this very precarious news. Don't you think Stephen enjoyed working on your railway? Surrounded by a familiar face in the scrapyards and at the steamworks? Don't you think he enjoyed working for you?
Manager, perhaps you should learn to mind your manners.
And maybe you should understand that Stephen's just looking for acceptance in a railway where most, if not all, of the engines in the fleet can have their origins traced back to either the Great Western Railway, the Southern Railway, the London Midland and Scotland Railway, or the London Northeastern Railway. Don't you think he liked working around engines who could have been former members of the Big Four?
Manager stormed away from the yard, leaving Iron Bert and the Fat Controller to ponder what the novice controller had said regarding the Q1.
Manager's right. Stephen just wants to be accepted by engines who are just like him, British through and through. Even as an experimental engine, the Southern Railway built Stephen during a turbulent time in the world. He was the only engine to be built with a firebox that burned hotter than any ever built by any railway in the world. That's what makes him so strong and fast compared to a number of engines here on Sodor. Granted that he doesn't like conversing with any of the engines, it doesn't mean he liked helping out or being given work to do. It was exactly the same situation with Hank.
Just because Hank is a larger engine compared to a number of the Sodor engines, it didn't mean he never wanted to work like any of the other engines did.
You remember how happy he was when you told him to go and help Stephen to the steamworks. He even made me go as his back engine, even though he never needed any help. Every engine likes to be accepted, and to have friends they can count on.
As Iron Bert left for the China clay pits, Edward arrived and found the Fat Controller very pensive as he stood in the yard.
Excuse me, sir. Is everything all right?
To be honest, Edward, I don't think I know anymore, especially with Stephen.
I see. I did hear Stephen heading over to the clay pits. If I may, is he all right?
I am afraid he did not take the news of being sold to manager very well, Edward. He's very upset about it.
I see. Perhaps there is a way to make amends before things become worse than they already are now?
Edward, I think you may have just solved my problem. Thank you.
You're welcome?
As Iron Bert arrived in the China clay pits, he found manager speaking to Stephen, who was resting in one of the temporary engine
I never
chairs.
meant to tell you that way. What I had wanted was to have you and Hank both together so I could tell you the news at the same time, but construction work on my railroad has kept them away from the Northwestern Railway for much longer than I had even hoped. I had wanted you to talk to me if you had any concerns or problems about the matter. I should have told you, but not even Iron Bert would disclose your location when I informed Hank of his purchase.
Did Hank really not let you buy him unless I was bought too?
I had to promise him. To further illustrate the point of my loyalty, I had some of the railway board present while I worked out the details for purchasing you. I even had the papers signed and validated in front of Hank. Victor and Kevin, along with some of the Steamworks employees, were witnesses to the signing and validation of said papers.
You serious about me working, not just shunting in some yard or steaming in a shed?
When I say work, I mean you pull freight trains, shunt about the yards, and stretch your wheels from dawn to dusk. No excursion passenger trains or lazy idling in steam in the locomotive shed. Work meaning work. Same thing with Hank. Actual work that helps you become a better engine, just like the work you do here on the Northwestern Railway.
Shouldn't you get to your hotel? It's late, and I doubt you'd find anywhere comfortable to sleep out here.
That's alright. I've already missed the last train. If I may, is it alright for me to spend the night in your cab?
Wait. Say what?
Do you mind if I spend the night in your cab? I've already missed the last passenger train to get to the station closest to my hotel, and I don't want you to spend Christmas alone.
Stephen did not know what to say. With it being Christmas Eve, Stephen let manager spend the night in his cab.
Good night.
Stephen woke up to find manager raising steam inside the tender engine's firebox. The warmth spread slowly through his boiler as the novice controller had surprised the Q1 with his knowledge of properly firing up a steam engine.
Morning, manager.
Good morning, Stephen. Merry Christmas. Sleep well?
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Well, it may not be the best fire, but it's enough to keep you nice and warm until your crew arrives later today.
Where'd you learn to raise steam like that? Only firelighters and firemen know how to raise steam that properly.
I learned a great deal about working with both steam and diesel engines from my railroad as a stand-in driver or fireman in case one of the crew members was ill or had sustained an injury while working.
That's very impressive of you, manager.
Stephen and manager were very surprised to find the fat controller in the clay pits with Ed, Boko, and Oliver.
How on earth are Edward, Boko, and Oliver working today? I thought their crews had the day off.
Volunteer cruise manager. I also have a nice surprise for Steven.
Oh, sure. A nice surprise for me. Probably wants me off of his railway.
I'd like you both to come to the Steamworks, please. There's someone there who wants to see you both.
Stephen needs his crew. I can't drive him and keep his fire up.
I don't think you'll have a problem keeping his fire up, manager.
Unlike most of the engines within the Northwestern Railway's fleet, Stephen can operate himself, much to our bewilderment. As a matter of fact, he's the only engine we've ever known to operate himself.
Just keep his fire burning well, manager. Edward will show you to the Steamworks.
It was still early morning when Stephen and manager arrived at the Steamworks. Manager was very surprised to find the Steamworks busily at work, especially on Christmas Day.
Hello, Stephen. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Stephen. Boss?
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Victor. Merry Christmas, Kevin.
Merry Christmas.
Manager.
Manager. Boss?
Merry Christmas, manager. Your present for Stephen is almost ready.
What do you mean by present?
I suppose you could say it's a bit of a present for all the engines here.
I'm not sure I follow, manager.
Tell me, Edward, what do you notice about the engines that are here at the Steamworks?
Well, aside from myself, I see Boko, Oliver, consequently Toad, Victor, and Kevin. I don't see much of a connection here.
I'm surprised you haven't figured it out yet, Edward. You're one of the first engines to always figure something out.
The engines were very surprised to find Iron Bert with a new coat of paint as he stopped near Kevin.
All the engines here are ones that have won Stephen's respect. In my case, along with Victor and Kevin's, Stephen has a debt of gratitude he feels he can never repay. After all, we did get him restored to working order.
Hey, don't forget about me!
The engines were very surprised to see Hank steam next to Iron Bert with a fresh coat of paint.
I helped you bring him here, partner. I've always been happy to help. Y'all know that.
Well, for all the engines, my present is a fresh coat of paint for each of you. I brought all of you here because I wanted Stephen to spend Christmas with the engines he respects and cares for. Granted that he may not say it, He certainly feels that he cannot express it to any of you, save for Iron Bert and Hank. As a token of my gratitude, I'm giving all of you a fresh coat of paint as my Christmas present.
Even me, manager? Boss?
Yes, Kevin. Even you get a new fresh coat of paint.
Yay!
As the engines were busily being repainted, Stephen was very surprised to find Manager busily talking with the Fat Controller.
Manager, what are you doing?
Well, remember how I told you that construction work kept Hank away longer than I'd hoped, Stephen?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of orders still have yet to be delivered from the businesses I've chosen to purchase from.
Wait a moment. Are you telling me that you are the one who's been making all those large orders from the Augsburg Ballast Company and the Sodor Ironworks?
Well, quality products help build a quality railway, sir.
Ho ho ho. I suppose that you are right, manager.
Boss?
Yes, Kevin?
Thanks for the new coat of paint. It's really nice to get a fresh coat of paint, even though a lot of people won't see it.
Oh, Kevin. All the employees here at the Steamworks would be able to see it. And all the engines who come and go, Kev.
Hey, what about us? Don't we get a fresh coat of paint too? I thought you two were eavesdropping.
Well, that's up to Stephen. Stephen?
Timothy gets one. Those two little demons don't need it with where they work.
Ah, what? No fair. Considering the fact it was your little prank that caused the accident, I think it's safe to say that it is very fair.
Merry Christmas, you two.
And I thought Ari complained too much.
What? Complain? I'm not complaining. Complaining? Huh, I'm not complaining.
I think you two have had enough excitement for the day. Go back to sleep, like Timothy.
Well, I've some work to do in order to make preparations for the next few shipments.
Preparations, manager?
Yes, Edward. Since Hank and Stephen are the only engines in my fleet at the time, both will be coming and going from my railroad back here to collect the orders from the Augsburg Ballast Company and the Sodor Ironworks. That means the two of them will still be coming to Sodor to collect the shipments until some of the other engines I've purchased arrive on my railroad. Once those engines arrive, Hank and Stephen will be on my railroad. But until then, I think everyone here will be seeing both of them quite frequently well into the new year.
Boy, I can't wait to stretch my wheels with a nice long run. And there's that peppy American enthusiasm that Rosie warned us all about.
Everyone laughed, including Stephen.
Hey. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Stephen the Q1.
Manager, I recall you saying that you have purchased other engines for your fleet. By chance, will you be sending them to collect your orders?
You could say that, yes. I've been able to get 2 very powerful locomotives added into my fleet. 1 steam and 1 diesel.
I see. Well, I have a chance to meet them.
As I'm sure you've seen with Hank, and usually seen and heard easily due to his sheer size, that was a fun story.
Let me tell you about the time I pulled the Pennsylvania Flyer through Horseshoe Pass unhelped. It was a 14-coach train. I've never pulled such a heavy thing by myself.
I think you'll be able to.
I certainly hope you don't have any unexpected surprises for us on the Sodor Railway with your 2 engines, Manager.
Surprises? Well, maybe just 1.
1?
Maybe more than 1?
I see. Perhaps you won't try to give any of my engines a fright with your locomotives then.
I'll try not to, sir.
I certainly hope so, Manager.
Well, Challenger might make a few heads turn.
Challenger, Manager?
Yes, sir. Challenger. One of the powerful locomotives I've purchased.
Ah, I see. I take it Challenger specializes with heavy goods trains then.
You could say that, yes.